What's good? What's good, y'all? Yep, it happened. And now we get a chance to see all of the fallout and everything that's associated with making moves for one of us. That's all I can call it right now. It's like we're getting, you know, all of the fallout is starting to make itself prevalent. And even I had some questions in the beginning of this. And this just like turned into a no-win situation for the Biden camp, even though yes, we were able to obtain Brittany Griner released. So I want to thank everybody for coming in. The people that are here. What we're gonna do is we're gonna give people a little bit more of a chance, a little bit more of a run to get in here. What I want to do is start off with the announcement pertaining to from the president's cabinet and whatnot about uh, Brittany being able to come home and making her way home and being released. This in from the Twitter account of Biden, and it's the audio. And I'm just happy that we're making some I guess you say some headway as far as getting the questions for the African Americans, the blacks in this country and whatnot, getting some work. But it's looking to be more of a serious what I want to call this a political black eye for the Biden campaign. Of course, they're turning it into a way more than what it is. It's a small victory, but it's being overshadowed by other things. And we're going to talk about that. So, again, thank you all for those who've come in. I want to get into right off the rip so we can get up to justice to what happened. If you guys are not aware, Brittany Griner was released. Now, Let's Stars Life has been covering this from the start, from the get go. And I always had, my questions about the way that the Russians were going about their the negotiations. You know what I mean? So, is Brittany, that the type of negotiations for what was in being asked for her release was always eyebrow raising, and I said it then. I'm saying it now. So first of all, let's listen to what uh, Joe Biden has to say.
Well, good morning, folks, and it is a good morning. Moments ago, standing together with her wife Sherelle in the Oval Office, I spoke with Brittany Griner. She's safe. She's on a plane. She's on her way home. After months of being unjustly detained in Russia, held under intolerable circumstances, Brittany will soon be back in the arms of her loved ones, and she should have been there all along. This is a day we've worked toward for a long time. We never stopped pushing for her release. It took painstaking and intense negotiations, and I want to thank all the hardworking public servants across my administration who worked tirelessly to secure her release. I also want to thank the UAE for helping us facilitate Brittany's return, because that's where she landed. These past few months have been hell for Brittany and for Charlie and her entire family and all her teammates back home. People all across the country have learned about Brittany's story, advocated for her release, stood with her throughout this terrible ordeal. And I know that support meant a lot to her family. I'm glad to be able to say that Brittany's in good spirits. She's relieved to finally be heading home. And the fact remains that she's lost months of her life, experienced a needless trauma, and she deserves space, privacy, and time with her loved ones to recover and heal from her time being wrongfully detained. Brittany is an incomparable athlete, a two-time Olympic gold medalist for Team USA. She endured mistreatment at a show trial in Russia with characteristic grit and incredible dignity. She represents the best America, the best about America. It is across the board, everything about her. She wrote to me back in July. She didn't ask for special treatment, even though we've been working on a release from the day one. She requested a simple quote, "Please don't forget about me and the other American detainees. Please do all you can to bring us home." We never forgot about Brittany. We've not forgotten about Paul Whelan, who's been unjustly detained in Russia for years. This was not a choice of which American to bring home. We brought home Trevor Reed when we had a chance early this year. Sadly, for totally illegitimate reasons. Prayers are with them today. They have to have such mixed emotions today. And we'll keep negotiating in good faith for Paul's release. I guarantee that. I say that to the family. I guarantee you. And I urge Russia to do the same to ensure that Paul's health and humane treatment maintained until we are able to bring him home. I don't want any American to sit wrongfully detained and one extra day if we can bring that person home. My administration has now brought home dozens of Americans who were wrongfully detained or held hostage abroad, many of whom had been held since before I took office. And today, we also remember the other Americans that are being held hostage and wrongfully detained in Russia or anywhere else in the world. Reuniting these Americans with their loved ones remains a priority for my administration, every person in my administration involved in this. And we're going to continue to work to bring home every American who continues to endure such an injustice. We also want to prevent any more American families from suffering this pain and separation. And I strongly urge all Americans to take precautions, including reviewing the State Department's travel advisories before they travel overseas, which now includes warnings about the risk of being wrongfully detained by a foreign government. Make no mistake about it, this work is not easy. Negotiations are always difficult. There are never any guarantees, but it's my job as President of the United States to make the hard calls and protect American citizens everywhere in the world, anywhere in the world. And I'm proud that today we have made one more family whole again. So welcome home, Brittany. And now I'd like to invite Sherelle to say a few words, Joe. Of course, she's not excited at all about this. Sherelle, it's all yours, kiddo. Congratulations again.
So before we go to Brittany's partner, her wife, I want to kind of tap into what Biden had to say as far as the politics behind what it is and the Whelan situation, who is also a prisoner over there, okay? And there was a hard push to get both of them out as part of a 2-for-1, which to me, it made sense, especially when we're talking about a person who is a convicted arms dealer, somebody and with the nickname of the Merchant of Death. I'm like, you know, we're putting them on the scale and saying, okay, how does this measure up as in comparison to a basketball player? Well, we have values, and Brittany brings a lot to the table and whatnot, but the Russians were playing hardball. It's obvious now, and they put the value of what they felt like what we valued against what they are obviously valuing. This arms dealer, he wasn't in there for nothing. He was known for what the stuff that he was doing, and just the fact that the Russians are more or less backing him. It's like they must have a lot to do with what he does in the world as far as dealing arms, okay? It's a very, very, very politically sticky situation, okay? And it's like, where do we where do we see the balance of what just happened with this particular person being exchanged for our Brittany Griner, okay? And it's just one of those things like, we won, but as you can see already, the fallout from the trade is gonna work against Biden's camp and the Democrats, the Republicans are going to make sure of that, okay? They're already starting the campaign of why didn't we get Whelan? What was the significant factors that went into that? And it's like the part being is the only thing that the Russians were willing to come to the table with was with this, okay? They know that they had us over the barrel with this so-called exchange, okay? So the best part is let's just say this already, okay? Brittany is on her way, if not already at home. And if she is, she's probably, with her partner and whatnot. And it won't be long before she be blocking shots and getting rebounds and getting back to her normal life. What did we learn from what happened to Brittany? Well, as Biden said, that they were going to start really initiating, an awareness of people traveling and knowing what's going on abroad and whatnot. I spoke in an earlier video that the WNBA and people who are traveling abroad, especially with high visibility personalities and credentials that go along with them, need to be a little bit more aware, if not even aware, but almost educated as into, before they travel abroad as to what's going on, even if it's down to the laws of, well, what can I do and what can I not do? Obviously, Brittany, whether she knew she had the vape cartridges and that's what they detained her for, something that's totally legal, especially where I'm from here in Seattle, that what is the ramifications of these items in another country, not only another state but another country, because it's not legal everywhere in the United States either, but it is minimalized and in the US of A. But we're talking about Russia now, and so that was the problem where she got caught up. And this began the whole process of what we're seeing unfold right now. So what I want to do is get back into the Twitter press conference, and they'll be bringing up her wife, her partner, okay? And we'll listen what she's got to say.
Thank you. So over the last 9 months, you all have been so privy to one of the darkest moments of my life. And so today I'm just standing here overwhelmed with emotions, but the most important emotion that I have right now is just sincere gratitude for President Biden and his entire administration. He just mentioned this work is not easy, and it has not been. There's been so many hands involved, and so I'd like to take a moment to just specifically mention a few. Vice President Harris, Secretary Blinken, Jake Sullivan, Josh Geltzer from the National Security Council, Roger Carson and Fletcher, Schoen from the Hostage Envoy's Office. A special thank you to Governor Richardson and Nikki, the Mercury Players, the WNB PA for your advocacy. And also, you guys may not know this, but my family has been tremendously supported by the Wasserman Agency. BG's agent, Lindsay Colas, has just been amazing for me and my family throughout this process. So today my family is whole, but as you all are aware, there's so many other families who are not whole. And so BG's not here to say this, but I will gladly speak on her behalf and say that BG and I will remain committed to the work of getting every American home, including Paul, whose family is in our hearts today. As we celebrate BG being home, we do understand that there are still people out here who are enduring what I endured the last 9 months of missing tremendously their loved ones. So thank you everybody for your support. And today it's just a happy day for me and my family. So I'm gonna smile right now. Thank you. Thank you.
Yep. So we're, like I said, we have the sweet and the bitter of this whole aspect. Obviously, it is turning into a political tug of war as to just how many people are really going to benefit from Brittany's return. Well, if you ask me, a lot of people are going to benefit, but Here we have a family who's not benefiting because they felt like that Paul Whelan should have been included in the deal, which was something that they initially tried to do, but the Russians weren't budging. Okay, again, we look at what are the aspects of Paul Whelan. Well, he is being detained on what they consider to be some espionage type stuff, some accusations of being spying for the United States government. All of these, which he has vehemently denied. Okay, and there lies the issue. Okay, he feels that he's innocent, and we want to believe that. We don't want to believe we're over there doing, illegal acts and political spying and whatnot in another country. So that's the difference. Okay, they're not budging on that to that extent, but they are willing to put up a arms dealer, and that's what makes everybody straight up scratch their head. You know what I mean? Like, well, okay. I mean, for anybody who's thinking about a person who has that type of a background, a person who's selling arms, you have to realize there's a lot of people who will never get their family back because of this person here who is selling arms to almost any and everybody, including uh, um, terrorist factions. Okay, so yes, he has a lot of bodies and blood on his hands, and it's like, we're balancing that, but somehow the focus is being shifted from that to this. It's like, where is the the justice, and why isn't Paul Whelan included in this? And again, you know, I don't have the answers for that. All I can give you is what I feel like is some of the elements of why they were so willing to make a trade with Brittany. First of all, they got something in return that they considered high value. Second of all, they considered Brittany not so much as a threat as a Paul Whelan, who is being accused of espionage. Okay. So that's one element within itself that, is something that needs to be considered. But you know how it is. People want to jump on bandwagons, and it makes it more politically amenable for the let's just say, for the far rights to be able to say, well, you didn't get Paul Whelan home on this deal. We're holding you accountable for that. And they're making that a stress point, especially since we're heading into, primaries and re-election movements and whatnot. And it's just like, you know, we gotta win today, but it has a cost behind it. Okay. And I mean, let's be honest. Okay, at this point, we haven't won much as far as a race and our demographics is concerned. Like I said, this current office is known to have taken away a large majority of the funding that was set aside by um, uh, by uh, uh, by Trump administration in regards to the HBCU, the historically black colleges and universities. All of the majority of that funding was taken back by the Biden administration, and that to me was in itself a bad signal. Like, why would you, supposedly the people that are representing, you're representing the people that got you in, but you took away the educational grants and loans and all of that that was significant for the future of a lot of young black Americans. That's a head scratcher. And I just question, what's really going on. And this being what we see is a high visible, let's call it a win for the administration. It's like, look, it's so visible. It's like, this is something we can do to help alleviate all of the backwash of what we haven't done or what we've done, but has worked against the people that voted us in or endorsed us. Okay. The majority of blacks voted for this administration. Not all of them, but the majority of them. So it's very, very intense. And it's gonna get worse. The fallout's gonna get worse if you ask me. What's gonna get buried in the whole fact is that we did get Brittany Griner back. And that's important. Okay. So what I want to do now is get into the response of the Paul Whelan camp, this directly from Paul Whelan, from what I understand. And we're going to listen to what he has to say. Obviously, he's disappointed. Oh, I have an audio. Give me a second here. Sorry about that, y'all. I'll get it pulled up right here. So let's see. It's the time of year to be inspired. Read some of your comments right quick. Doc Soldier said, good point. One is an athlete and one is accused of spy activities. Exactly. It's like very tough. Okay, here we go.
Department producer Jennifer Hansler just got off the phone with Paul Whelan. She joins us now with her exclusive reporting. Jennifer, what did Paul Whelan tell you? How does he sound? Well, Kate, he was disappointed that he had been left behind in this prisoner swap. He said he was surprised that he wasn't included in this, that he had gotten indications that things were moving in a good direction toward his release. And he said he's disappointed that more has not been done to free him from this penal colony. He's been there nearly 4 years now on espionage charges. He was charged to 16 years in prison for those charges that he vehemently denies. And he said he was very disappointed that he was left behind, though he was very happy that Brittany Griner got out today.
They've always considered me to be at a higher level than other criminals of my sort. And for whatever reason, I'm treated differently than another individual here from a Western country that's also on a charge of espionage. So even though we're both here for espionage, I'm treated much differently than he is. And my treatment is also much different than others held for espionage at other prisons.
Yeah, Kate, so you heard him describing there that he knew that the Russians considered him to be on a different level from Brittany Griner, which is something that U.S. officials have also said. They said they negotiated as much as they could to try to bring both Griner and Whelan home today, and ultimately the Russians said they would not take those two out. They would only trade Griner for Boot today. Yeah, and this is the treating the cases differently is something President Biden spoke to this morning in announcing the release of Brittany Griner. So what was Whelan's message now to President Biden? Yeah, Whelan told me that he wants the Biden administration to continue to do everything that they can to bring him home. I want you to just take a listen to his own message in his own words that he wanted the president to hear.
I would say that if a message could go to President Biden that this is a precarious situation that needs to be resolved quickly. And I would hope that he and his administration would do everything they could to get me home, regardless of the price they might have to pay at this point.
So we will have to wait and see whether the Biden administration and the Russians can reach another deal to bring Paul home. Kate?
So, in his own words, whatever it's going to take, this was like what just happened with Brittany Griner. I mean, it's like we just did whatever it was going to have to take. We traded a convicted arms dealer for just a basketball athlete personality. Mind you, I'm not minimizing who she is. She's obviously a outstanding person. Works with a lot of charities and all of this type of thing. But it does bring in the question. Okay, so now what stakes are any higher than a person who's convicted of dealing arms? I, what could we possibly bring to the table to help alleviate this guy's restraint? He's been convicted of being dealing in espionage, which the Russians take very, very serious. So I just don't know. The answers are really, really unfathomable right now, because I don't know what else is worse than giving them somebody of that statute, a convicted arms dealer, for just a basketball player. It's tough to, it's a toughie, and I'm just wondering at this point, is the fallback going to be to the point where it's going to somehow be damaging to Brittany, and the WNBA, and let's just face it, blacks in general, as into why, she was released and not him. And we can't allow ourselves to be caught up into that. We can't allow ourselves. What we did was we took what we could get, and the price was a big price in trading for an individual of this sort. You know what I mean? It's like these guys are dangerous people, and they're being essentially re-released. Shame on the Russian government. I mean, if they don't have their hands somehow associated with what these guys doing, then why are they pushing so hard to get an individual like this back into their country? It's very, very telling of a lot about what's going on with the Russian politics at this point. Correct me if I'm wrong. Put it in the chat. Let me know. I mean, just for what I've been seeing, what I've been hearing, I've been covering this for a while, from day one when they arrested Brittany to now, knowing that, ultimately, it's not going to be a totally clean win situation for the current cabinet. It's like, right now, yeah, we should be applauding Biden, but in that same breath, everybody's like, I don't know. That was a toughie. We gave up a whole lot to get Brittany. And it's like, now how do we get this other guy home? I don't know the answers. I don't even know if we got somebody in in one of these federal institutions that could compare with what we just gave up for just a basketball player. Let's just say that, just a basketball player who got caught with a vape charge of some vape pens that are totally legal in the majority of the United States, okay? And who knows how many other countries, but it's like, we're in a no-win situation. I'm ready to let some people come on and address. I do have a good constituent of mine. I'm going to bring Liberty on board. Here we go, brother.
What's happening?
How you doing there, Mr. Hazelton? Hold on, let me drop this down. You got your cam on?
No. My cam's off. I'm driving.
Okay, that's good. That's good enough. Let's chop it up right here like this.
So how you feel about this, man?
Well, like I said from the start, I did the first videos on her when she got arrested, and I felt like, well, first of all, I'm from the old school. She did a crime. You know what I mean, knowingly or unknowingly.
I think it was a voter grab.
What I feel your position on that. I feel your position on that.
I feel
and
it was
I
a
feel
voter
like,
grab, but I feel like
yeah.
it could go bad for them, because, like, if you think about it, anybody, like, okay, I'm not a Trump supporter. I'm not a Biden supporter. I do support some of the things Trump did because he did them strongly. I think Trump or anybody like a Trump kind of person could come out today and be like, no, we do not negotiate with terrorists. That was bad deals. Vote me back in. we'll make sure
Yes.
shit like that doesn't happen again. And that could go very bad for the Democrats right now.
Right. And see what you're saying is really on point because I've went through this analogy. Like, okay, so we haven't got a lot out of the Biden administration as minorities, as black minorities are concerned. We're scratching our head a lot about when are we going to get that piece of a pie that we were told that we were going to get by backing the Biden administration. And so this being a highly visible thing in regards to Brittany Griner is a good way to say, okay, well, we didn't do a lot, but look what we did do. And everybody's watching this, and it's like
Now,
we freed Brittany, and that is a vote grab.
I'm gonna play Frost devil advocate here. Are they doing that for the black vote, or are they doing that for the LGBTQ vote?
Well, to be honest with you, it's both.
Right?
Why wouldn't it be?
I
It's
think,
both, and we know that the power that the LGBTQ brings,
oh, for
you
sure,
know.
for sure.
So why wouldn't it be both? It's like those two elements together have been also a part of what's going on with the current cabinet that we have. Those are part of the elements that help get him where he's at into the office. So they kind of, they've been always, let's say, piggybacking on our agendas.
Right.
Okay.
Another thing, what I think they did was they opened it up for high-profile people to go into any other country that's not necessarily, in the UN and get kidnapped. Man, it's going to be a matter of time before Sean Penn gets taken.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're like, hey, yo, give us Chapo back. We're going to cut this cracker's head off.
Right. I get it. We're opening up to the door now for any high-profile person to be out abroad.
Pandora's box. Opened up Pandora's box.
Right. I get it. And I don't know, it works against us, but like I said, this is going to be one of those really in the end a no-win situation. I mean, we got her home, but at what cost? And that's one of the things that you just said is part of the cost. It's like now we as United States citizens had to be very concerned about going abroad and doing anything because now it's like almost open season.
That's right. That's why I think a lot of people are saying that we did this from a weak position, but I don't know if necessarily we did it from a weak position or what we did weakened our position.
Mm-hmm.
I think it more weakened our position than the fact that we did it from a weak position, which we gave up nothing for something. It don't make no sense to me. I mean, we gained nothing for something.
Right.
Look, man, I'm telling you, if it was my son,
mm-hmm.
if it was my son over there, I'd be like, no, let him do his little 8 years that he's got left. He should have known better than to go over there with the illicit drugs. I don't care if you got a doctor's order. That doesn't mean shit when it comes to the laws of another country.
Precisely. I mean, it's like we know the rules. Don't do the crime if you can't do the time. And sometimes the time is different in different states,
Look,
obviously in different countries.
I remember like 25 years ago, I was a younger man then, and I remember some kids went over to Singapore, and they was, being disrespectful and tagging and,
I remember that.
These kids got their asses caned, bro. They got their butts whipped. Caned. We didn't stop that and say that's a moral activity, man. You can't be,
disrespecting.
Yeah, you can't be spanking these people. But no, you know what? They went over there. They took what they got coming to them because they was doing the wrong thing. I don't see why this is any different. We can't get our own marijuana laws in order, but we're fucking giving up a war criminal for somebody that just broke a marijuana law. But we can't even get our own laws in order here in the States.
Now, let's talk about this guy here. This war criminal guy, okay? He is a convicted arms dealer, okay? And we know that when you sell weapons, they're used for something. They're usually used for killing people.
For sure.
Okay. So like I said, I try to balance like, well, where's the weight in us trading him for our basketball player? I didn't see that. I thought that was, some very hard poker by the Russians. Like, okay, well, if you want Brittany work, we need this guy back. And it also tells a lot about their political stance. It's like, you guys are endorsing this.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it's really, if you ask me,
I
on a
understand
global.
she's a two-time Olympian, but that to me tells me that you've been across country, you've been overseas. You know that crimes overseas are different than crimes in the States. To me, two-time Olympian doesn't mean, oh, she's our hero, we got to bring her home. Two-time Olympian means you know better. You know better.
Right. Right. And to initiate now, and I heard it in Biden's tweet message that we're going to start bringing more awareness. To me, it was something that should have already been instituted and initiated. We need to be aware when we go abroad that there are different rules, there are different circumstances, different political atmospheres. The whole thing exists, and that is something that, especially for anybody who has high profile statures, actors, athletes, government officials, anything like that, all the way down to just to the regular Joe Blow. It's time to have your awareness level up, knowing that if I get on this plane, I got to be ready to play by the rules of where I'm going.
That's a fact.
So I just, this is it,
That's
it
like, look. What's the young dude's name? Just got out of prison. Sorry, not a young dude. He's a player in the game. Joel Santana.
right.
Y'all made that dude do all his goddamn time when he accidentally took a gun to the airport because he had that gun the night before, and he was
Yeah.
out, and the security detail put the gun in his bag. He put the gun in his bag, took it home. Next day, he had to
Mhm.
jump on a plane, accidentally grabbed the same bag. You didn't give that man no leniency. You made him spend all his time in the United States prison as a black man, but you're willing to go over here and grab this black woman just as a fucking to pander to voters. Man, that don't make no
Right.
sense.
I see your, your issue with it, and I understand, and I've even addressed some of that stuff. But again, then you got to remember the current state of our politics. Marijuana and vapes and all of that type of thing is basically legal to a certain extent, right? So the difference being is that the general consciousness of us is like, it was just a vape pen. She didn't have a gun. You know what I
Man,
mean? She didn't have
go to
explosives.
Abu Dhabi, or you go someplace like that,
Right.
and you get a little bit of marijuana or hashish, you get caught, they'll give you life.
Yeah, Turkey. Remember that? Remember
Life.
that
They'll
one?
give you, man, we've had to fucking go rescue rappers from over there. Come on, man.
It's tough. And this is, again, falls back onto the awareness and the education of the person that's going abroad. That has to be in place. And really, that responsibility really ultimately falls on them as individuals. You have to educate yourself before you start going abroad and thinking that you're going to do what you do here somewhere else. No, you need to find out first and off the rip, is this legal what I'm doing here and
That's
over
how
there? Is it going to be
entitled,
legal?
that's how entitled we are as Americans. We expect to just go over there, get in trouble, and be like, yo, mommy, daddy, come get me.
I mean, even with this guy, this person here, this the one that didn't get to be part of the deal, right?
Whelan, yeah, Whelan.
Whelan. Okay, now he's there under, you know, espionage convictions or whatnot, and he's coming. Their family's coming off a little bit as in time. Now, mind you, he's standing by the fact that he says he's innocent. I hear what he's saying, but with that being said, they convicted him of those charges. So it's like, is he supposed to do his time? Well,
Everybody, yeah, also him too. Everybody, I'm gonna tell you something, man. And I've never spent years in the penitentiary, but I've been to jail. And
uh-huh.
everybody in fucking jail is gonna tell you they're innocent. Everybody.
They're gonna tell you,
But
dude.
this dude that got caught with his hand in the fucking cookie jar, he's gonna tell you he's innocent. because that's America. We think that we're innocent till we're proven guilty, and that means even if we're caught guilty, that we're still presumed innocent. But that's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. And I'm
That
sure
gives
he went through
people a
his
sense
appeal.
of entitlement.
He went through his appeal process over there. It happens quick because we saw how quick Brittany went through appeal process, and they concurred with the findings. She was guilty.
That's
But
crazy.
you know, this
America, it takes
being
years to appeal.
right, we know that here it takes
Years.
you years to get to the appellate courts, and that's just one level of the appellate courts. Until you ultimately, if you go all the way to the Supreme Court for an appeal, that takes time and years. But over there, it was so accelerated. Boom! Before we know it, Brittany's appeal was heard, and boom, she's on her way to the penitentiary.
And I
Or
think that was selectively. I think that was selectively pushed through fast like that because I've been watching reports all morning about people saying, if you got somebody in Russia, it's like 75 pages of forms you have to fill out just to see them, and then
mhm.
once you get that shit all put together, and you take it up there. They're gonna sit there for a week, and then they're gonna send it back to you and be like, "I'll use black ink. It's supposed to be blue ink." They're just how did she get through her appeal process so quick? But the Russians are so strict on their processes. That don't make no sense to me. If they knew they had a timeline, they wanted to get this guy back out.
Right? Doesn't that really just really ultimately make you scratch your head? Of like, was
Yeah,
this all a plan or set up in the first place?
yes. I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't put that pin on her.
Uh-huh. Right? Just so they can get to this process. Okay, now we're gonna do this and negotiate, and you
Right.
guys are gonna let go of our guy, and who knows what happened underneath the table with it
Hey,
can turn into that. It can
I was
very easily
my,
turn into to
I
that
was
type
telling
of
my niece
theory.
earlier, man. We don't know it yet, but something 10 times bigger happening.
Right. This is just what we see. This is the tip of the
While they're
iceberg.
while they're while they're sitting there confused, and this is enough to make you go, huh? This is things that make you go, huh? You know what I mean? Like, if
Uh-huh.
if I can't understand. I'm a numbers guy. I'm a numbers guy, so I think things kind of rationally. You know what I mean? If I can't understand why we gave up a guy of so much value for somebody so less value, and I'm sitting over here spending my day thinking about this, then they did exactly what they had planned. You know what I'm saying? They got all of Americans going, huh? What the fuck is really
Yeah.
going on? While they're really behind the scenes doing something 10 times bigger, 10 times more illegal, 10 times more questionable.
Right. It's just, when you get charged here in America, you get charged on the seriousness of your crime, right?
Right.
And you get that time, you know, as part of your sentencing associated with the seriousness.
Right.
Okay. So Brittany gets 9 years for a vape pen, which is over there perfectly legal as far as the sentencing went. You can get 9 years for what you did.
Yeah.
Okay. It wasn't like they went out of the box with it, you know what I
Right.
mean? Or made her an example. They just said, you know what? You did that. We're giving you 9 years. You lost your appeal. Now you're going to go do the 9 years. It
Yep.
ultimately took a process like this just to get her free. And in this process, I believe we took it on the chin. We took it on the chin. We gave up a arms
So true.
dealer for a basketball player. And it's not sitting well with a lot of people.
But
I'm
look,
happy
this
that she's
guy's
home,
been sent. Yeah.
but
This dude's been in jail for over a decade, 15 years, right? He's been in our
yeah,
place for over 15. The
right,
whole time he's sitting in the penitentiary, what do you think he's thinking?
boy,
Well, when I get out, or if I get out, man, them motherfuckers pay. Yo, when I get out, I'm gonna fire my 5 best friends that are just like me, and we're gonna set it off, man. You can't tell me this guy wasn't thinking that. And
right,
today he got his wish. His Christmas came early.
sure did, and obviously the Russians are behind him.
Him and Putin.
Yeah, they're
They're-
behind him. Putin's a G. He's like, I need this guy.
yeah. All right, how come we don't? Why don't we be like, all right, we'll give you this Lord of War back, but why don't you pull out of Ukraine?
Right?
Let's go for we'll give you back an act that could be aggression later on, but you got to pull out of your aggressive act right now. You know what I
Whew.
mean? If you
Yeah.
can't can't pull out of Ukraine and then have a ceasefire for a month and you can't have the guy back. Any act of aggression within this time forfeits the deal. Why didn't they do shit like that? You know what I mean?
Right. Okay, so let me touch bases with you, Liberty, since I got you here, man. So this Peeling guy, right? How do you feel about his circumstance in relation to this whole thing? They're starting to generate a lot of fallout from this, and there are some indications that obviously their family's not happy with the fact that he wasn't included. What's your take on that? You with me, Lib? Come back and come back in. I see that you're hold on. I might could do it on my
Can
end.
you hear me?
Yeah, now I can hear you. Did you hear my
I
question?
yeah. I said I'd be salty as shit too, bro. I
Yeah.
would be mad as hell too, and I think they're within their right to be salty, man. Your guys been sitting over there fighting. I mean, fighting his innocence for when did he get locked up? About 5, 6 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So he's been over there. He's put in part of his time. Man,
Yeah.
she did what they're talking about. Oh my God. She's endured months of this. Months. Like,
Mm-hmm.
man, come on, man. Take that on the chin, yo. Sit down for your country. At least you're still alive. Come back later. You're gonna have a great comeback story as a basketball player. Man,
Right.
come on, man.
Well, she's still
Months.
gonna have that. I mean, let's say this, okay?
Do you think they shouldn't have any
Let's put
retribution?
ourselves in her shoes. If they say, "Hey, we're gonna get you out," they come to them, "We're gonna get you out." I mean, I don't know. Am I gonna say, "Nah, I don't want you to get me out. The price is too high." No, she's like, "I'm okay. Godspeed. I hope you can do this." And that's what I mean. Inadvertently, I'm just hoping that,
Yeah,
well, let's not let her become a casualty of what happened. She just was a unwilling participant, and she ended up getting out. Not an unwilling participant, a willing participant who ended up getting out and getting what any person who would want to be who was detained, they want their freedom.
so you're telling me I think that's selfish. I
Yeah, it
think
is
that's
selfish. I
that's
mean, but
selfish as shit because she's putting herself and her life at the cost of what? At the cost of every other American or every other. This dude arms cartels. This dude arms drug cartels with guns. This dude arms fucking assassins. This dude arms fucking terrorist groups. This dude arms. This dude is the bad guy of bad guys. You know what I mean? We
yeah,
didn't
I,
give
I I
Mr.
like I like your position on this, Liberty,
We
because
didn't
now
trade.
we're really getting the back and forth on this. So
We didn't
let me
trade.
give
We didn't trade up Mr. Rogers for Brittany Griner.
you. So where I'm at with it is that, okay, he was all of these things. I said the same thing. I'm like, wow, the price is a little bit too high, more than a little bit.
It don't
It's
even
like
make
we're
sense.
playing high stakes right now, and they're
Yes.
they're they're asking for a whole lot, for this guy, and it's like, are we, you know, it's one of those, like you said, a vote grab issue. They did this. It's high visibility. They said, okay, we're gonna make this happen. And who else knows? Who knows what else is going on? Like we said, behind the scenes, to where they made this happen. Like, okay, we're gonna do it, and
Look,
hoping there's gonna score points.
look, for every person, this dude had 25 years. He had 10 more years at least. He had 25 to life over here, right? He had at least 10 more years to do in American prison before he even had the chance to think about getting out, right? They could have held him indefinitely if they wanted to. Anybody that dies from guns or ammunition or anything that this dude does or has
Yeah,
anything to do with in the next 10 years, that blood is on the hands of America. These
right.
cartels over there killing each other now when they get his guns, their blood is on the hands of America. These terrorists coming over here and messing with France or the Al Qaeda or the whatever they are now, whatever you call these terrorists now, when
Well,
they go other countries, if they've been armed with his guns, that blood is on the American
Right.
hands.
And I think this is something they considered and have also who, for all we know, maybe there was a clause like, that's not being spoken, an unspoken clause like if we catch this guy doing any of the things that he's done, and I said this in my previous videos, that we do have the technology to just literally push a button and finish whatever it is that we've started off doing with this incarceration. Like, okay, you went back and you started doing the same shit you've been doing, and you're responsible for all this blood on your hands. We're gonna end this, and they have the technology to do that. They know that.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot. I mean, they do have that technology,
And
but
they've done it. They have done it.
you're talking about putting like a pacemaker with the RIFD chip in it.
Not so much as that. Just being able to zero in on a person in a bunker in the middle of a desert and take them out if they
Yeah,
want to.
they can. But
Yeah,
then
they can.
look. But then when we do that, that's going to look like an act of aggression from our country to whichever country he's hiding in at the time.
Yeah, they know how to cover up the shit they do though, man. Anything could, they're very very skilled at hiding what it is that they're gonna do. Shout out to Aggressive, man. He's in the chat.
What up, AD?
Hey,
I think that to me this was a head scratcher. And if I'm a businessman and I'm sitting there scratching my head like how does this shit work, then it's not
right.
good business for me. You know what I mean?
Same thing here, bro. I
When I
scratched my
woke up this morning, I seen that. I was beside myself. Like,
mm-hmm.
no, I thought we was a country that we don't negotiate with terrorists. I thought we was a country that we don't back down to other countries and shit like that. But this morning, I was beside myself when I seen that on the news. I was like,
I
man,
agree 100%. I think what you said was a good point. That vote grabbing being a part of it. We are heating up with the primaries on the horizon. All of that. It's looking very, very sus.
that's always what it is. Look, I think I don't know how to fix America. Don't ask me. I'm not the one to ask. But it also makes me, it's a thing that makes me go, is why do we re-vote in presidents every 4 years if all we're doing is every 2 years fighting about this shit? We're
Right.
never we're never getting to a place of bliss if every 2 years we're fighting about the shit, and then every time we change presidencies or we swap sides, the last guy, the next guy tears down what the last guy did. That don't make no sense, man. How
Yeah.
I
It's,
think that we should have all our parties how we have them, and then we set up our our best guys like we do, and instead of getting a president out of the race, we get a president and a vice president. So meaning whichever Democrat or Republic, whoever wins, he's the president. The guy that
mhm.
loses, he's the vice president. Make them motherfuckers work together.
Correct.
You know what I mean? Put a Democrat and a Republican in the top two seats and just make them work together.
Hmm. I agree. I mean, teamwork can always make the dream work, and we
I,
have a issue here, and the issue is that a lot of things are not being addressed, and this is by no means a band-aid. And their approach to this is I don't know. Where time is yet to prevail, but it might become even more of a sore for the current cabinet because of what they've done here today. I'm just saying. Yeah, it's great to save a life, but are we really saving a life, giving them an arms dealer?
at what cost? Yeah. That's like
Exactly.
saying, "Hey, give me back my fucking my cap gun, and here I'll give you back your grenade launcher."
Exactly. I agree with you.
No, like we crippled ourselves. We handicapped ourselves.
Sure did. Sure did.
Already the dude don't like us, and now we're giving him back to his friends that got the money and the power to. Man, we look
Hmm.
we look weak as shit out here today.
It's just it's a fact, man. I just feel like they got us by the balls because of our own political stances, our own current cabinet not fulfilling had they fulfilled all of the other things that they said, maybe they could have went by with it. Well, we're not willing to negotiate with terrorism and whatnot. This is exactly what it's boiling down to. We're negotiating with the release of a terrorist.
That's a fact.
And so it's like, the administration is definitely, backpedaling, trying to find favor with the community that voted them in.
Look, man, I feel like an older brother today that their little brother went and just sold like a Babe Ruth card for like something ridiculously cheap for like, a couple dollars. And then I'm the bigger brother and I'm like, yo, what did you do? I just want to grab the little boy and shake him, smack him around a few times. Like, yo, what did you do? Like, that's how I feel today about America. Like,
yeah. So, what I'm getting ready to do right now is I'm going to go ahead and chop it up with a young lady who's doing her thing. Rondell's Unpopular Opinion.
Salute Rondell.
Yeah, I would come through her panel and chop it up with her about this. She's on right now. And I got some unfinished business here in the next hour. I'm going to let everybody know later on how that went, man.
Hey, somebody check in on Sean. Somebody check in on Sean.
Oh, my God. He's AWOL, isn't he?
Yeah. It's hard for that dude to keep his mouth shut this long, so I'm wondering if
he might be out there selling BBN plungers.
Right?
You already know.
We gotta take care of all the shit. BBN plungers. All right, so, man, I'm gonna let you go, bro.
Liberty, I'm gonna let all y'all go, man. I appreciate you pulling up to the panel. Very interesting situation, and to be honest with you, I don't think we've seen the end of it by a long shot. I think there's a whole lot more to come, a lot of flack, a lot of introspection of the situation, and we're just gonna wait and see what happens, man.
Yes, sir. Hey, you tell Rondell Liberty said what's up, man.
I most definitely would do that. I'm in the queue right now, so.
And then you guys, make sure you guys go sub to Front Street with Liberty Hazelton.
Front Street with Liberty Hazelton. Put it in the chat right quick before you check out.
As soon as I got enough likes, we're gonna.
You're trying to get
to live for sure.
To go live, right? Okay, appreciate you, bro.
Yes, sir. All right, peace.
So with that being said, y'all, let me go ahead and thank you, Liberty. We have to say, again, the price being for our basketball player is very, very high. Okay. It's gonna bring a lot of flack back. It's gonna bring, a lot of situations where people are gonna be, they're gonna be vocal about it. And at this point, I don't know, it's hard to call this a real win situation. So it's like, she's home, and that's the good part. But everything that's getting ready to come with it is gonna take away from that victory of her coming home. It's up to the American public and our conscience to decide whether the price was too high or not. That's where I'm at with it. So if y'all haven't got a chance, there's the Liberty's link, Front Street with Liberty Hazelton. Go check him out. Hit his page and subscribe. Let's do this. Make sure you hit Aggressive Defiance. Make sure you hit Dog Soldier and all of the things so we can keep putting out news we could use. So with that being said, Ned Stars is out, and you guys have a good day.